Oh, by the way, I have the word sedition tattooed here. I just want to take a moment and say fuck you to all the January 6th or whatever that was. The people that stormed the Capitol and made it so that normal humans know what sedition means. This is a tattoo I've had for like 25 years, something like that. It's one of the first tattoos I ever got. I'm not a insurrectionist and would not want to be an insurrectionist. One of the definitions of sedition is whispering change in the ears of the masses. It's revolution by word, and I'm sure those who are familiar with me can totally understand why that would be right up my alley for things I might want to tattoo on my flesh. But there's also sedition as a criminal charge, which is like active treason kind of stuff. When people see the word, they're just like, oh, you're a right-wing crazy person who probably likes QAnon, aren't ya? No, I'm not. But there's a cool story that goes with this tattoo. That's not with the origin of the tattoo. It's many years later. I was in a gym working out with my buddy, and afterwards got done, went in the shower room, and we're showering as you do. And I look over, and this dude is staring at my body, hard staring. He's not looking at the stuff that you would think he'd be looking at, but he's still like, I can tell that he's staring at my body, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Just not because like I don't care about being naked, and I don't care about my, if people want to like or hate my body, fuck, go do your thing. But just in that moment, you're kind of like, I'm not even wearing shoes here, motherfucker. Like, can we not? So I've kind of finished up quickly and got out of there. And we used to get lockers. The particular layout of the place is there's this little sort of back section where the lockers, there's lockers over here, but there's like the main section where there's lockers all the way through. And that's where all the dude bros would go and get their lockers, so everyone, they could stand around naked and everyone could admire their manly penises. I preferred to be a little more demure. So I would go off with, my buddy and I would go to this little sort of back area where we had a little bit more privacy. Naturally, dude from the shower is in the same spot as us, for his locker. So I'm getting changed, and he comes walking in, and I'm like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I don't fucking care. What am I gonna do about it? So, getting dressed, and he goes, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, okay, what's up? He goes, what does your tattoo mean? So I explain what sedition means. And he goes, that's really interesting. I had a conference, a work conference that I was at a long time ago. And it was awful. It was like the worst work conference ever. All of the speakers were terrible, all of their topics were stupid, and literally I am angry at myself sitting there. The last day of this conference, I'm like, maybe I'll leave. I don't even care. The final keynote speaker is not in any way making it seem like a thing I need to stick around for. Maybe I'll fucking leave. And he's like, I chose not to leave, and I chose like out of like pure pissiness. I'm like, no, I paid for this. I'm gonna stay. He stayed for this last speaker, and he goes, and you know what? That speaker was fucking terrible. But he said one thing that made the whole thing worthwhile. And it was an accident. I don't think he even meant to say it because it was such a bad speaker. But he said that different isn't always better, but better is always different. That's a cool concept. Different could be fascism, like an actual full-on authoritarian fascist government here in Canada. That would be different. It would not be better. But whatever our current state is, in order for it to be better, it has to be different. That's a cool idea. Anyways, that all tied to the tattoo. And that makes me, because I'm in a fucking rambling mood, makes me think of something that I saw on my Facebook memories today. And it was the first time I shared the poster for Naked Guys Reading. And I don't know if I've ever talked about Naked Guys Reading on here, so I'm going to do that now. Naked Guys Reading is exactly what it sounds like. There is a group that does Naked Girls Reading. Naked Girls Reading is a very feminist experience. I actually didn't go to the first bunch of them because I was worried. It sounded really interesting, and I asked a friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh no. There's a guy that I know through work who goes to these things, and he's this like lechery, scummy, like naked girls reading kind of guy." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be that person at all." And then the longer it went on, the more I realized that I had friends who were doing it and who were, really, interesting people, good feminists. So I decided to try it out, and it turned out to be really enjoyable. The nakedness isn't the point. It's actually about vulnerability, and the people who are reading, they come in all body shapes and sizes and all this kind of, stuff. They once a year would do naked guys reading. I had this moment right after I got in. A trans woman basically walked up, grabbed me by the crotch, and just started like, "Hey, how are you?" I was just like a fucking deer in the headlights. Again, I'm not a real man, or I would have, been real manly about it. But in fact, I just sort of stood there like, what the fuck is happening? Holy shit. There was nothing more to it. The person meant this as sort of a funny haha. I did not find it a funny haha. I found it horrifyingly uncomfortable. And I don't think there was any malice intended. I think, honestly, that the behavior was like an extreme example of what can happen inside of the gay community. And I, my experience was colored largely by the fact that I'm not part of the gay community, and this isn't my world, and completely caught me off guard. It did mess my head up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It was a very uncomfortable experience, and very, in a certain sense, it was very scary. I had been talking with the person who ran naked girls reading, and I had told them this story because of something that they had posted about kind of a similar but different thing, and I was like, I haven't talked to anyone really about this, but this is a thing that happened to me, and it's not like it traumatized me, but it kind of sort of traumatized me, but not really traumatized me, but kind of sort of like I don't know how to process this properly. And they suggested that when Naked Guys Reading comes around, I consider doing it as like a reclamation kind of moment. And I weighed that, and I was like, that is an interesting perspective. There's also, I have a whole pile. Yeah, it wasn't okay, for sure. I have a whole pile of other, body issues to do with stuff like the stuff that I talked about earlier. I've been on a roller coaster of weight over the years. There's a bunch of things, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And I wound up reading at Naked Guys Reading, bare ass naked. I read an excerpt from an, as far as I know, as yet unpublished book by my friend Utana Faith, who lives in New Orleans and is a rad human being. And I can tell you that it was terrifying. I can tell you that it was not a sexual experience, especially for those in the crowd who had to witness what happens to Jim's wiener when he is terrified. I'll give you a hint, was not able to jump rope. It was just like a turtle. He just shrunk his head in. But more importantly, no one was there for that. They were there for the reading and for the strange experience. And it was a very, very liberating and very positive experience for me. Terrifying, 100%. Would definitely do it again. I've done a lot of weird stuff in my day that I would not do again. This one I would do again. So, yeah, I don't know. That was a series of random stories that started with me looking down and seeing that tattoo and wound up with me naked on a stage. So there you go.
First off, I want to say thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thank you to my patrons that support me on Patreon. I am a little streamer, and these people are all really awesome for supporting me. First, to the followers, those diabolical souls who hear the words and give of themselves, your faith shall be rewarded. Thank you to I Am Canadian. My next tier is the prophets, those who receive the whispered truths before the masses, who hear the word and speak it smugly before other people get to. Special huge thanks go to my one prophet, Shithead Dave Anderson. And of course, my final tier of supporters is the gods. This tier is the most expensive and likely to never have any members, but Patreon really told me I should have one, so it's true, I guess. There are no gods. If you want to be a patron, head over to www.patreon.com/BigUglyJim and sign up, and you too can get a hearty, rousing, full of love thanking. I try to put up stuff at least once a week, and I live stream every Saturday at noon Mountain Time on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, like an old man. Again, thanks for watching, and have a kick-ass day.